Yeah, that day, Saturday, July 7th, 2012. What had happened is my dad was riding his bike that afternoon, and a person was driving their car in the opposite direction, and they had fallen asleep behind the wheel, and they drifted over the median line, the center line, and it must have happened pretty quick because my dad was, he'd been riding a long time. He was typically very, very alert of his surroundings and all of that. They hit, head on. So it was pretty instantaneous. It was a pretty terrific impact, which is, it sounds weird, but there's a little bit of comfort in that. It's not like he suffered, it was just really instant. I just came on as the high school pastor at Fox River, and I remember, especially in the weeks thereafter, just trying to communicate, just trying to talk, and it was so difficult. I remember just the waves of emotion just out of nowhere. And like everything would be fine, and then just, and you're like around other people, and it's like, what's going on with me? What's wrong with me? And just all of a sudden, just so sad. The only comfort, and it's a big comfort, was that my dad knew Jesus, and I'm so thankful for that, because I know where he is, and I know I'm going to see him again. So it's like, okay, at least I got that. I know very easily I could not have that comfort, but I have that comfort.
I remember looking at this as a kid. My first bike ride.
You worked for my dad, and so yeah, I knew him from that, but not when he was actually here. First bands at Salsa.
Yeah, no, we used to come here all the time, man. We got the first bike here, we got a bunch of bikes.
One of the things that I really felt God leading me in, I didn't know how to do it, as funny as that sounds, but God was leading me to forgive the driver, but also to let the driver know that I had forgiven him. And that was like, those are two very different things, like, okay, I can stay in my own little world and okay, I'm good. God, you've forgiven me, I forgive him, okay. But going, somehow, some way communicating that was just something I really just thought about, and I just thought about it for years. I thought about it, and then Gwenny and me, my oldest daughter, we went to a city in central Wisconsin with her choir members. In the city it was in, I recognized the name of the city from the accident report that the police produced, so I was like, well, let me look up the name, see if this family lives in that city, and sure enough, I found it and was able to match up the names. And so I said to Gwenny, hey, I think we're going to make a stop, And I remember trusting God. I was like, okay, I'm like, okay, here's the opportunity. I got to walk in it. Like I don't have to, but I have to. I have to walk in this. But we were sitting in their family room. They graciously, they let us in, and we sat in the family room. And I remember saying to them, I forgive your son, because he wasn't there, and asking them, hey, can you relay the message? Can you tell him? And they said, yes, we will. And they were just so thankful. They're like, oh, our son thinks about it all the time. He talks about it. He's really been struggling. And this was years after the fact too, So I think that's one thing to remember. It's really hard to appreciate this, especially when you're on the victim side of the equation. But most of the time, the person who's at fault, they're struggling too. They're having to work through things. And I remember knowing that, but really appreciating it much more when I sat down with his mother and father that day. And then the other quality, which felt equally wonderful, is the gift that God had given me. You know, like, Bill, you're forgiven. Of all you've done, you're forgiven. Then I got to give that same gift to that family, in particular their son, you know, of like, I forgive you. But I really wanted to not only forgive, but I wanted to say why. You know, it was a chance to share Jesus with people that I had never met and I imagined could really use Jesus. So it felt absolutely wonderful to follow God in those ways. Yeah.